Antarctica, the fifth largest continent located in the southern hemisphere and is almost entirely covered in ice and snow. It is the coldest, driest, and windiest continent that experiences desert-like conditions and is colder here than it is in the Arctic due to the higher elevation sitting roughly at 10,000 feet above sea level. Eastern portions of Antarctica are colder due to their geographic features. Mountains are mainly formed in the center and on the eastern sides of the continent, blocking passing weather fronts from traveling west. The cryosphere is also part of this continent, as it includes sea ice, snow cover, ice sheets, ice shelves, glaciers, and frozen grounds. With global average temperatures rising due to the emissions of greenhouse gases, we are starting to see significant changes not only within Antarctica, but it is globally changing weather patterns as we are seeing an increase in frequency of natural hazards. This vast iceland is now experiencing the effects of climate change and is slowly melting away. Within this time lapse of Antarctica reported by DNews between the years of 1999 and 2009, you can see some areas have maintained its sea ice extent, but other areas are drastically decreasing, mainly near peninsulas and major deltas of the continent. With the ice melting at an accelerated rate due to climate change, land is able to retain more heat, causing more ice to melt. With ice melting due to land retaining heat, sloped areas will push the ice downhill faster due to the effects of gravity, and with an increased precipitation, which these areas are currently experiencing, runoff will increase as well. These time lapses are of glaciers within Antarctica taken over long periods of time, capturing and compiling thousands of images. These time lapses are showing us calving events occurring along the coast or along the sea ice extent, as well as glaciers receding within Antarctica. Looking at glaciers can give us insight at the signs of how climate change is affecting the cryosphere and Antarctica. The way Antarctica is responding to these increasing temperatures shows us a positive feedback loop directly correlating to climate change. In other words, the more the ice melts, the worse that global warming will get. Since these events happen at a larger scale, they take longer to occur and make it harder for us to perceive these changes. Over time, Antarctica's glacier runoff has accelerated and is increasing the rate at which ice is dumped into the ocean, fueling sea level rise. If all of Antarctica's ice shelves were to melt, we would experience an increase of 200 feet in sea level rise. As you can see in the simulation, it shows significant portions of Europe and North America are projected to be underwater if these ice shelves were to melt. We could even see the polar jet stream drop further over North America, causing more severe winters. Other effects from climate change would also occur more locally to the ecosystems of Antarctica. The rising temperatures even allowed for vegetation to grow within these areas. With rising climates, wildlife is forced to migrate towards more suited areas, which have thus caused a decrease in certain species. This is because some of these animals are ice dependent, whether it is for food or reproduction. One of the main major impacts to this ecosystem that has had a correlation to other population declines is the number of krill. In a British Antarctic survey conducted in 2004, it is noted that the number of krill have dropped by roughly 80% since the 1970s. Like other wildlife that is dependent on ice, krill uses it as a food source. Krill feed on algae that is trapped under the ice, but with the decline in sea ice over the years, the decline of krill followed. This would explain the decreases in other populations such as penguins, seals, and whales as they feed on krill. Even though some may think of krill to be not that important, they in fact are a key component to the food web that the Antarctic ecosystem relies on to function. In recent efforts to reduce global warming, the Paris Agreement has recently been signed within the United Nations in efforts to do so by increasing mitigation, financing, and adaptation to the current situation. I still believe that we need to do more by speaking up to our policymakers and implementing stricter laws reducing the use of greenhouse gases. Having a tax on fossil fuels, as well as increasing research and funding towards renewable resources globally, could also have a major impact and would be a good start, as humans are a huge part of the emissions of greenhouse gases. The vast Antarctic regions are taken for granted as they are showing telltale signs of the effects of climate change. The proof is right in front of us, and we need to keep increasing awareness and efforts in reducing greenhouse gases that we emit globally. Thank you.